I would like to talk about what I have been reading and what I understand from uh, scripture's perspective. So I believe life after that is when the real life begins and the true trials begins here. So whatever we have done until our deathbed, whatever karma that we have done, whatever penance or good deeds that we have accounted for, that we had thought of, everything has that has been recorded has to have is is what we get now, like whatever bad things that we have done. So a proper sheet is and we are trial on that basis. So our here, if we have done if we have done more sins than good deeds, we are subjected to punishments of different sorts. If we are done good deeds more than punishments, then also punishments are everywhere that we have to serve. Also, life after that is one thing that I missed out is the body dies but the soul doesn't. So a body is a tangible thing that shifts with every 80 to 100 years according to our current timeline of humans currently. So the body is a basically a piece of cloth that we change, but the soul remains very much same. So once we leave our uh, body, our soul, whatever karma that is gathered on, it goes into a new dimension. It goes into contemplating on those deeds and working on it. Like, and they are like what we say is like every deed is recalculated and calculated, and we are held accountable for what we have done. And after that we find a path towards towards attaining an ability to either be able become such to be able to attain moksha, which is very rare. But and we restart ourselves with a new life. So this cycle keeps on happening again and again until we reach that level of uh, a high power that we could attain moksha. So I believe more than preparing for what life we are living now and how big a bungalow we live in 20 years after 20 years of our time, I think it is very important to focus on what we are working and what good deeds we are collecting, so that our life after our death, the entire balance sheet of our life and deeds that would be chalked out, that could be and basically we are earning every good deed that we do here, we are earning some brownie points for our second life. So however good we are, the next life would be better and better. So that is what I wanted to share.
So, in my opinion, life after death is a topic that's intrigued everyone at least once in their lives, and they've thought about it. And everyone has different perspectives about it. Some believe in reincarnation, where the soul is born into a new body. Uh, Another concept is the idea of heaven and hell, where one's actions determine whether their fate lies in paradise or they deserve to be punished. And there are even near death experiences where individuals report that they saw the light, and when they encounter like an accident and they're really close to dying, doctors give up hope, but they come back. So it further is something intriguing because we don't know what lies after death, and it remains a mystery. But there are different perspectives, and everyone has a different perspective about it. So it's very interesting about what anyone thinks about it.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
as Shaurya mentioned about the different perspectives, like one is about the reincarnation. Like in many religions, there's the concept of reincarnation. Then there's the heaven and hell concept, and in some religion and some cultures, there's the concept that there's no life after death. So, like after death, there's an empty void kind of thing, and that also needs to be taken into consideration. In certain other cultures, like in Norse religion, we have the concept wherein people who die in battle, they go to Valhalla. So that is also kind of a different thing from their perspective. And in the whole situation, we have to consider that the human life usually spans from 80 to 100 years, and that is a very small amount in comparison to the life that actually takes place after death. In many cultures, the soul resides in heaven or hell based on their own karma, as Mansi pointed out, and that period is significantly more than the period that humans live in this planet.
So, again, I would agree to those points. First of all, I think we all can agree that it is a mystery for us, and different cultures have different beliefs. So, if I talk about the Hindu culture or the Indian culture, if we feel dig into the scriptures of Indian mythology, we would find that it is believed that Lord Brahma, who created this universe, his one day is equal to 43 lakh and 20,000 years of earth. Just a single day of the god who is supposed to have created this universe. And in all of those 43 lakhs years, we keep dying and keep taking birth again. It is also believed in some cultures that we are not born as humans in each life, depending upon the karma and depending upon what uh, deeds we did in the last life. We can even be born as an animal. Then some cultures are heavily focused on a hell and a heaven concept. So it's largely about the culture you're in, the sort of experiences you have had. And on top of that, one thing I'd like to mention is that regardless of what happens after death, because that is obviously unknown to us, I don't think the drive to do good should come from whether or not something good is going to happen to you after you die, because then essentially you are just motivated to do good to people just because you will get rewarded or get a better life after death. I think it should be an intrinsic motivation due to the sheer fact that you want to be a good human being, you want to do good to others, regardless of whether or not it's going to create any positive impact on you after your death.
Yeah, I
Life after
completely
death,
agree
in
with
one word, we can.
Vansh. Yeah, I completely agree with Vansh, and I'd also like to say that it is the unpredictability of what lies ahead that makes us scared of dying and finishing things off and living a full life. That's something that should motivate us because it's unpredictable. No one knows what it is about, and that's what scares people from that.
One thing that I would like to say is like life after that, in one word, if we want to sum up, is full stop. So people are very scared about it. Some people are very scared to think about it. And more than our own death, we are very much associated with our loved ones' death and how we will be able to cope after they are gone. So that is basically a teaching lesson that we are very transient in this universe, and it somehow gives us some ability to become a bit stronger of stronger beings. Also, having said this, we all know we are going to end one day. So it somehow soothes us also because we know that our problems are not for long. So whenever we see a person who is troubling in their old age, or in some cases in their early teens or adults, like when we see them suffering mainly due to some mental problems or health issues, we ourselves as humans say that it's better if he goes by, if he has a normal death, if he just dies in his sleep, so that we get rid of our problems. So we humans have so much going on in our lives. That is the only constant, and it somehow motivates us to live our life to the fullest, as is said earlier. And it's also it's also a very big motivating factor that, yeah, and for some people, people are very like when they when they are in their old age or when they are into some very deep sufferings, I hear people say that it's better if I die. It's better if I die. So there's some mentality also that all our sufferings will end after that. So people who are very much into problems and into very deep-seated mental issues or something, death is a very good escape for them as well. Like we see suicide cases and whatever not happening. So death can be associated with a lot of things: escapism, a motivating factor, a, a path to true life beginning on. But one thing that I've always heard is like the moment we die, the first, I guess, a minute or two, we get a recap of all the entire things that we've done throughout our life. So that is, I think, the most fascinating things that I have heard people associating to, that those seconds, that those recaps that people are very fascinated to see after they die is a very charming but a weird thing that people would want to happen. But there is so much mystery in death and life after that, that we think that most, I have seen people such that they want to die and they want to discover what is life after that, but we forget that we lose all our senses while dying. So there's nothing we can accumulate or nothing we can jot down to remember. So
I
it's,
would
I think
What I would
also,
like
it's a
to
mystery in, it's a mystery that we all are fascinated towards, but very scared to face.
what I would
what
also
I would
like to
like to
add
add
another, sorry,
is
go
that the
ahead.
concept of ghosts and spirits, like there are so many instances and that are present in various cultures, and there have been real life instances and uh, studies which has shown, not uh, not 100% sure, but there has been studies which has shown the existence of ghosts and spirits. So that also needs to be taken into consideration, since that is also a very huge thing. If after death there's the possibility of humans surviving in this world as spirits, then that also brings a new perspective as to the
But then that
Uh,
brings in the rituals that has to happen after that, and what the family has to do after that, so that the people, so that the person has a peaceful or is somehow is not hungry and not starving even after they are dying. So those are the things that we do, that is commonly known as shraddh. So living as a ghost or spirit are generally associated with people who are very often, and they do not have somebody to do a pujas or shraddhs every year for them and every tithi for them. So I
I
think it focuses on that.
I would
no.
also
What
like
I
to
was
bring
trying to
in
say is
another
that
perspective to this, that it not just life after death of someone who's dying, but also about the people that of the family. Because it teaches us about the resilience of human spirit and the power of love and connection. It encourages us to contemplate, to find meaning in loss, embracing in the belief that there's afterlife as a sort of source of comfort. It also promotes empathy and understanding, reminding us to the importance of cherishing every moment that we have with our loved ones and cultivating meaningful relationships during the time we're alive.
So to the point that Mohit added, I would say that it's not something that we can say with surety, as we can say that there's no surety and it's a mystery around what sort of life is after death. I would say that it's again a mystery that what sort of souls become ghosts and spirits, because we have seen that even with, I think I've heard stories and I've read that even with people who were not orphans or who were given a spiritual goodbye from their family, they still were not able to free their souls and they were stuck here due to some demand that something in their life that they couldn't accomplish, something deep that is still in their soul. So that's not something that we can objectively put a finger on, that only this particular thing leads into one's soul's being stuck as a spirit or a ghost. So that becomes another perspective of life after death.
Is it over? Mohit, please summarize the discussion.
So we discussed about how in different cultures there are different significance after death. Like in some cultures, there's the concept of reincarnation, where human beings are reincarnated into different humans or some other forms of life. Then there's the culture there's also the concept of heaven and hell, wherein people are given the opportunity to go to heaven or hell based on their karma or how they have behaved in the society. And then there's the concept where nothing exists. That is, there's no concept of life after death. It's just an empty space. Based on that, we can't say for surety as to what exactly is life after death. But we know for a fact that death is something which is inevitable in human beings, and uh, the life after death is something which is not only for the person that is there, but also that is for the entire family and the friends who are associated with the person
Okay.
dying.
Good stop. Vansh, please summarize.
So we primarily talked about the different beliefs and different cultures, wherein there is the concept of reincarnation, there's the concept of heaven and hell, there's the concept of people being stuck as spirits and ghosts, and life after death also brings us a consideration of the fact that wherein knowing that life may or may not be there after death, it's a mystery. So we need to cherish the time that we have with people. And lastly, it's important that regardless of whether life is there or not after death, as a human being, we should always be considerate and do good deeds in our life.
Fine. I think you have covered the topic reasonably well. I would have expected a few more insightful things from Vansh because you said you are into philosophy. So, and Mansi, I think you are going about in a roundabout way. You are not very clear about what you wanted to say, especially in the second half. Mohit, you need to speak more again. You came in 3 or 4 times here. The others had 6 to 7 entries. Okay, and Shaurya, you were okay. Is that okay?
So, sir, I was actually like the reason I didn't get too much into the details because, like, I mentioned that in Indian mythology, it is believed that Lord Brahma created the world, and I even mentioned that how long the life lasts for 43 lakhs 20,000 years. And I thought maybe the discussion will get too much like technical and that detail oriented. So maybe I should not.
No, you should simplify it and make it user friendly. Why do you have to get into too much detail? You have to
Hmm.
make it interesting for the audience. So you need to understand what is the audience. So your audience is your peer group and some observers. So you don't need to give too many facts, too many figures, but you can just say what the philosophy says, in 1 or 2 lines.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? Shaurya, I'll try to take your interview tomorrow. When is your interview, Shaurya?
Sir, it's on 29th and 13th March.
29th,
Yeah.
which one?
I am Amritsar, 13th March is India.
Okay. So I'll try to take one interview tomorrow, on your work experience part.
Okay, sir, and also I have to fill this cozy code LSM form. So there were some questions. So can I send you my answers on
You
WhatsApp?
can send your answers and we can discuss them tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Chalo, okay.
Thank you.
And best of luck, Mohit.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good night.
Good night, sir. Thank you.
Good night, sir.